Hello, my crafty friends. My name is Linda Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator with Crafty Heron Designs. I'm going to show you how to make this cute card today. There is a lot going on with this card. There's embossing with two different embossing folders, the background, one here. We're going to do some blending to highlight the texture in that embossing folder. We're going to do a lot of coloring with the blends, some fussy cutting, and then something serious. In the inside, we're doing some reverse stamping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to assemble the card first, and then at the end, we'll go ahead and do the coloring and cutting out of the birds. So if that's the only thing you want to see, you can fast forward toward the end of the video. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. That way you can kind of see, if you just want to see how to assemble the card, we'll do that first, because this will be the last thing that we'll add to the front. So I am using the Feathered Fun stamp set, and you can see that it's a reversible. That's what I was talking about. In here, I used the two sides to go ahead and do a nice quick image of the little bird. So I'll show you how to do that. We're also using the Pressed Flowers embossing folder. That's this one. This is the Exposed Brick embossing folder. This is it's a Textured Notes stamp, and the die is a mixed label die, but obviously, use what you've got in your stash. You can adapt it. And then these are the Everyday Arches dies. These are really cool. Aren't those wonderful? I mean, I just really had some fun with playing with those arches. So I'll show you how to assemble that. When I saw this stamp, I felt that I wanted to make it look like a window, right? I think it looks like you're looking through a window or looking out a window. I don't know, we got the little lovebirds, and then there's the outside of the building and kind of looking through a window too. So that was my inspiration for this, and so let's go ahead and get started. If you've ordered this kit to go from me, these pieces will already be cut for you, and some of them will be embossed as well. But I'm going to show you on the video how to do all the pieces. And I'll give you the measurements. So I started with a crumb cake base. It's your standard base, 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and fold that and burnish it. There we go. And I'm going to set that aside. And then the next layer is, the next layer is another piece of crumb cake, 5.5 by 4 1/4, and we'll emboss that. And then I'm using a piece of pecan pie. You need about 5 1/4 by 4. That piece is going to be die cut. You can see what I did there. I attached the two together, and we'll run that through the die cutting machine. And then you need, for the inside, a piece of 5 1/4 by 4. And then you need a couple of scraps. This I've already die cut for you. This is the background of the window, you can see. And it's about 4 1/4 by 3.5. But go ahead and, just cut your paper in half by 4 1/4, and then you can go ahead and get this piece out of it. And then I have a couple of other scraps that we'll use for the birds and the sentiment. So let's see, we'll go ahead and get started with some embossing. How about that? And die cutting. The only thing, yeah, we'll do the die cutting as well. All right, first thing is the embossing. So let me bring in my Big Shot. It's a little tight here, but I think you will get the idea. Just in case you're relatively new to stamping, I wanted especially to kind of talk about the embossing. So the Exposed Brick embossing folder is a 3D, and I label mine just so that I remember, and because I do classes, it helps my students kind of remember know what kind of a folder it is. So our embossing, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine will tell you, using with a 3D embossing folder, you use plate 4, plate 1, which is the base plate, and then you're going to use plate 4, which is the thick gray folder. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put this in the folder. And I don't want it to be, because it's pretty big. I want to make sure it's not up too high here, because then you'll get this like line that's not embossed. So just make sure that it's somewhat level, because it is brick. So you do want it to be level. And then you just run it through. Make sure it's all the way in there. And run it through the machine. Bring it out. And there you have it. Okay, so there's one layer. Now the next one is the pressed flowers. This one is not a 3D embossing folder. It's thinner than the other one. So here we look at, this is number 3, 2 number 3 plates and 1 base plate. So number 1 is your base plate. And then the regular cutting plates are number 3s. So we put 1 cutting plate down, and then we'll put the embossing folder in between the others. But I want to show you a little trick here. So this is really, I really love this embossing folder, pressed flowers. But you can see how it it kind of looks like it's hanging from the top, right? So it looks like that because this is the fold. But you don't have to do it that way. So I want to make sure that I get flowers more at the top of my arched window. So when I line this up, I'm going to line it up this way so that I get flowers all the way. Now the outer rim is going to be covered, so it's not too critical. Can you see that? I think you can see that. There's a little bit here that doesn't have flowers in it, but that's okay. Or leaves. I guess it's really leaves. But I'm gonna place my arch die that I've already cut. I'm gonna place this in. So remember, you do the die cutting first, because if you do it the other direction, then you'll flatten out your embossing. So die cut the piece first with your arched wishes die, and then you line it up. And then you always make sure that the fold of the embossing folder goes in your cut and emboss machine first. So this is the fold of the embossing folder. I'm lining it up, making sure that everything is covered, and then I'm going to bring this piece in. Make sure it's all lined up, and then run it through. If you try to put a 3D embossing folder in with this sandwich, which is what we call this combination, you will find it very difficult to go through. So don't force it. Take a look, make sure you've got the right sandwich. So see how that came out? It's got a little bit of, nothing here, but that's okay, because we're going to go ahead and, well, that'll be covered anyway, but we're going to highlight all that by doing some work with the blending brush. All right, so now I also want to do a little more die cutting. So this is that window. And as you can see, I've taken the 2 pieces and I taped them together so that they would be the right. That's why I remember. And I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go ahead and eyeball it to make sure that it looks like they're fairly even. And then, whoops, I forgot one more plate. So now, because I'm doing die cutting, I've got my base. Here it says using with the thin dies. I've got my base plate and then the number 2 plate, which is like a spacer. So there's my number 2 plate. I place that down, and then I've got my 2 cutting plates. So plate number 3 there. I put my cutting dies there on top of the paper, and then that last layer, and then run that through as well. So there's a nice little overview of the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You see how you can do all different kinds of, whoops, I do have one more thing to do. The different sandwiches for your dies. Okay, so we're gonna put this out. Now you can save this for another use. Don't throw that away. And then this one, and if you're really careful, you could potentially save that one for another use too, if you've got it kind of lined up evenly. And then this is the piece that we want to keep. There's our window. Set that aside. And then the last piece that I want is my sentiment. Now, well, I'm gonna wait because it's really better to cut the sentiment after you stamp it. So we'll come back and cut that out later after we stamp it. All right, so let's see, I need a piece of scrap paper for this. So I'm going to bring in my blending brush and, where is it? My Lemon Lime Twist ink. And we're gonna highlight the raised edges on this emboss in this piece. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I've got my blending brush. You could use a large or a small one. I'm gonna just pick up some ink off of the Lemon Lime Twist ink pad. I'm gonna tap it gently on my scrap paper, and then I'm very lightly just running it over the edges so that, see how it just picks up that, just the highlighted edges pick up the green. So don't press too hard because I don't want it in the background. Now, I mean, if you get it in the background, it's not horrible, but I don't really want the background. Now, you won't see the outside edges because it'll be covered up by the frame that we cut. So it doesn't really matter if you get ink around the outside edges. But I'm trying to just lightly, not pressing too hard, just trying to lightly get some highlights so those leaves and branches show up a little bit more. And I used Lemon Lime Twist because that's one of the colors that I'm gonna use when I color the birds. And I think it works well with the pecan pie. All right, I think that's good. Set that aside. Close that up so I don't stick my finger in it. All right, set that one aside. Let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment so that I can bring that die cutting machine back in. So on my original, I'll show you, here's the original. I made it as a thank you card. And that thank you is from the Textured Notes dies. I really like the font in that. And then you could say, you are seriously the best. That's what I put on the inside. But for this one, I'm gonna make it an anniversary card because I feel like that really lends itself to an anniversary. Isn't that cute? So I have the happy anniversary from the Mixed Labels dies. And the die that I'm gonna use for both of them is actually from the Mixed Labels dies. This is a really great set. It's got lots of great sentiments and then these dies that coordinate with it. You can see all the different dies that it's got. This is an online exclusive. So if you don't take a look at those online exclusives, you really are missing out because there are some great stamps and dies there. And the only way to see them is on the website. So I am going to, I wanna make sure that I have enough room, right? There's my die. So I'm just laying that in there so that I know where I wanna stamp on my little piece of paper. So if you purchase the class to go, your stamping pages will have a little slash on them so that you know that's what you're gonna be using to stamp and die cut. There we go, happy anniversary. So, if that was a clear, clean stamp or a clear stamp, I would be able to see through it. So I could have die cut this first, but it's not. So I was afraid I might not get it straight. So that's why I wanted to stamp it first. So let's bring that Stamp Cut and Emboss machine in one more time and slip this through. If you're unsure of yourself or you just want to be safe, you go ahead and add a little piece of tape to that. I think I'm going to be okay. We'll see. I'm going to live dangerously. Okay, run that through. And there we go. Happy anniversary. So clearly you can use this stamp set for many different seasons of life or different opportunities. Okay, so let's go ahead and I think we have everything we need except for the, yeah, I think we're good. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I've embossed this layer. And the reason I didn't just emboss the front, which you could do, number one, I like to have an extra layer. It just gives the card a little more strength. And number two, it is a little tricky to get it lined up and to run it through the embossing folder. So when I want to emboss a full sheet, I will just do it separately. Now I'm not going to raise this or anything. I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back and add it to the front of my card base. And I like to kind of make sure it's lined up all the way around. All right, now this one is going to go down next, and then this is going to be raised around it. So as long as this is flat, I want a little dimension on the window so it looks like on the frame part, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this, and I'm just looking to make sure that it's placed in the center, kind of equally the same distance on all four sides. There we go. All right, I'm gonna get ink on my. It is, you definitely want to use liquid glue for this because both surfaces are textured. So I want to make sure that they're gonna adhere. All right, now this piece I'm gonna raise. So you have a couple of options. Often I'll save the edges here, but let's see. Nope. Let's go ahead and pull out a new piece. So this is a new edge, new piece of Stampin' Dimensionals. What I want to do is I'm going to cut. I've already used the edges from my others. Let me see. Cut that like that. And pull that edge off. And then do the other. Now I don't need it quite this long, so I'm gonna do that. You can also use the, what do they call them? Stampin' Up has adhesives. Let me grab it. That we use to they're called foam adhesive strips. Foam adhesive strips. So these we often will use to do like shaker cards, which you can easily make this into a shaker card. So that would be another option for you to go ahead and use the foam adhesive strips. But I wanted to show you a great way if you've just got the regular dimensionals. Don't ever throw away those edges. They are very useful. I don't throw away anything. All right, I'll do this side. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be everywhere, but you can also, you see, is my hand in the way? See how I kind of curved that? That would have been another option to do up there. Now this side is a little bit trickier because it's not as thin. See that? But I'm gonna, again, kind of just curve it. That's not gonna fit totally, so I'm gonna just, I think I can just do that one like that. That's just an extra piece. All right. Slip that baby back there for another use and set that aside. All right, make sure that those are well attached, and then I'm going to just take the backing off and put that back on. I don't know if you know this, but I am a bird watcher. So when I first saw this stamp set in the new catalog, it definitely caught my eye. There we go. See, now you've got a little, like a little window. I just thought that was really cute. Okay, so I'm gonna wait to put that on until I get my bird done. But what you would do is you would just, well, I mean, I could do it now. Let's bring this back. And actually I can use this little piece there and one other, no. So I'm only gonna put dimensional on the left side because you see I want it to be raised there, but not there. So I'll just put a little bit of adhesive here. And I want that to be right about there. All right, so now let's get to our little bird and the inside. Set that aside. So I'm gonna bring in, we'll stamp the inside. Well, so in the original one, I did thank you, you are seriously the best, which is not the sentiment that I would use for a happy anniversary. I probably would just leave it alone. I know I've got one, but I didn't think about what I wanted to say in there. And which stamp set I have for an anniversary. I'll think about that and I'll post it in the notes in the YouTube description. Yeah, I don't have one right handy, so I'll have to think about that. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to do the inside. So we're going to take our stamp set and we are going to stamp in. You can do this for the envelope as well as the inside. So let's go ahead and we'll use, maybe I'll do the Mossy Meadow. Let's do Mossy Meadow. So this stamp has two sides, right? Every stamp does, clearly. This side is the raised area, so that's going to give me the image. There. It's very dark. It's darker than my original, but you know, I wanted to be able to show you some different options for your bird. And then the other, so there are two birds in this stamp set. See how they face each other? But when you turn them upside down, this one I've got the raised edge point on the sticking to the block, and then I'm going to go over it with the other edge. So that was Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to come in and use Lemon Lime Twist. And this is going to give me a firm all over image. And because it's photopolymer, I can just line that up and press down. And there we go. Here's my little bird. So I used different colors on this one. The first one was Lemon Lime Twist and Lemon Lolly, but he was a little washed out. I wasn't too crazy about that one. So there's another option for you. That's the Mossy Meadow and the Lemon Lime Twist. And then you'd put your sentiment there. So let's set these guys aside and put this one aside. And let's start with our coloring. Okay, so because I'm going to use the blends, the background that I'm going to do is Memento ink. So, bring in my stamp. And because it's such a large stamp, it needs to go on, I think this is a D block, E block. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the ink to the stamp like this. And I really want to watch that I get the middle, because I have noticed that it's easy to miss that part. So just the great thing again about the photopolymer is I can see, whoops, I just got ink on my finger, which you know is going to mean it's going to transfer onto the stamp itself. All right, there we go. I mean onto my card somewhere. See, that inside is that's what I'm really watching, is to make sure I don't want too much ink around the outside, but I also want to make sure I do get a good image on the inside. And I'm going to use, this is a foam pad. It's like a mouse pad, so it's got some give to it. You definitely want to make sure that you're using, that you're not stamping on a hard surface for this. The Stampin' Pierce Matte is what you want to be using to get a good image for all of your stamping when you use the photopolymer. So I'm just going to go ahead, put that on, give it a minute, not a minute, a few seconds to make sure it absorbs into the paper. And then here we go. Exactly. Perfect. Just what I wanted. All right. And while I'm here, I'm going to also go ahead and stamp my little branches. This is pecan pie. I'm going to stamp 2 little branches with pecan pie. And this is all going to be fussy cut. So there and there. All right. There are no dies with this set. I'm going to just cut these off here, but I'm going to color before I cut this out. So let's put this here. Start our coloring. So typically I like to start with the darker colors first. I'll bring this guy in. I just was really playing with this. So you can very much make it your own. I am going to go lighter to darker because we've got shading, but I've also added some additional colors. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is the light color is what I want to do first, right? Yeah, I didn't write any notes. I was just kind of free flowing it. So let's just do that. Start with the lightest. I'm going to start with the lemon lolly. Lemon lolly. And I'll do the dark lemon lolly. And you know our blends have 2. We have a flare, like a brush tip. My language. And then this is a pen tip. So I'm going to start with where the shading is on this. So I'm going to go ahead, because it's the darker color, I'm going to go ahead and just do some shading. And then the other piece I'm going to do is, let's see, the head's going to be a different color. So I'll just start with the shading around the belly, because it's primarily what I want is the head and the belly. And if you can see this, these are wings, this is a wing, and these are the tails. And this is really the background. And we'll get to what I did there. So I did a little bit of shading on the lines that Stampin' Up did for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and go just loosely all over the belly. And I'm going to go right over that shading so it blends the darker colors with the lighter color. And you do have to be a little bit careful. You really don't want to press hard on this brush tip. It's got to be really, really light. Do a little bit of light there. Okay. And then I'm going to go in and add some, you can barely see the shading now. So, it's like, okay, I need to do something else. Let's bring in the lemon lolly, because I thought that was boring. So this is, nope, that's Granny Apple. So next I'm bringing in, not lemon lolly, the lemon lime twist. Actually, let's do a little more yellow. We'll do Daffodil Delight. So you can see I'm just kind of playing here. Do a little bit of darker. So kind of just layering, because I want this belly to be more yellow than the wings. So I'm just going to do a little layering and see how that goes. every time you do it, it's going to be a little different. And I really like that. I think that's kind of cool. So there, a little bit there, a little bit there. All right, and now that was the dark Daffodil Delight. Now I'm going to come in with the light Daffodil Delight and kind of do a little more shading. Now I'm not going all the way over everything like I did with the Lemon Lolly. I want some of that lighter color to remain. So now you can start to see you're getting a little bit of depth. I'm just bringing that dark Daffodil Delight and kind of drawing it toward the center. All right. Okay, that's a little bit better. So now let's get into the greens. So I'm gonna start now with my lightest Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm gonna use the brush tip. So I know this is a wing. So now I feel like I wanna kind of define where my wings are so that I remember. So I'm gonna kind of just go all over the wings with the light Lemon Lime Twist. And I'm going to do a little bit on the head as well. So just this top part of the wing. Actually, I should be using the brush tip because it's a large area. Here we go. Remember, this is the light. What I encourage you to do is just kind of play. I'm gonna stop that there because I want the bottom parts of the wings to be a little darker. But I am gonna go ahead and do the head. Now you can see on my original, the face is separate, but I think I started with the face yellow, but we'll do the face separately. All right, so that's the next layer of wings. So now I'm gonna come in with the dark. So remember I said it the first time I like to go dark first. Well, in this situation, because I'm not really sure what I want my final product to be, I kind of just play. All right, so there's some dark there. I know the wings are kind of layered. So I'm kind of thinking about shading. Okay, where would there be some shadows, right? Where the wings are a little bit layered. So that's kind of where I'm putting my shading in. And this one, of course, would be darker because it's kind of hidden from us. All right, so that there. And then the next darkest color is, the next darkest green, right, is Old Olive. No, Granny Apple Green. So I'm just, again, kind of playing. Let's go lighter. I feel like this doesn't have enough depth. I want to give it a little more. So I want the tips of the wings to be a little bit darker. So now I'm going to come in. This is the light Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to do the tail. They do dry out a little bit. So that one was a little dry. So I'm going to have to use the brush tip, which is fine. So let's go a little darker, Granny Apple Green. Here, and now I will continue to layer that, kind of bring a little bit more there, a little bit more color there. Okay, and then the dark Granny Apple Green, where I know I've got, whoa, that's really dark. That's okay. I know that I want my tail to be really dark. And you could always test it, on your paper first to kind of see how dark it is before you put it on your page. All right, but I'm gonna come back now. Nope, I'm gonna go with the Old Olive on the tail. I don't know, you have to be kind of willing to play, I think. Be bold, right? And just relax and enjoy the process. I think the hardest part about something like this is knowing when to stop. At least for me. Kind of knowing when, yep, okay, that's enough. So let's see. I feel like I want a little bit more there. I don't know, what do you think? I'm liking the way this is going here. And now I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do a little blue in my tail. At the kind of the edges. This is the light, pretty peacock. Just because I love that color and I think it works well for this. All right, so I do a little bit there. I'm gonna do just a little bit kind of on the tips here. And then I'm gonna go over the whole thing. So if you can see that, see how you can really see the edges of the blue. So I'm gonna go back over it. Let's see, what do we want? Maybe, I'm gonna do the dark lemon lime twist because that's one of my lightest colors. There we go, yep. And I'm bringing the blue, kind of bringing it up. So you can still see gradations of color, but it's not harsh. All right. Ooh. I like that. What do you think? Oops, got to do it here. And I feel like I want my, what am I, dark? Let's go over this one more. I'm debating, what do I want to do here? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so let's do it there. A little darker there. And the light lemon lime twist. There we go. So this part of the wing's still lighter than the lower part, but it's not as light as it was. And I want to do just a little more in here. Okay, give it a little shading. And I think this is the lightest color I've used is the lemon lime twist. I'm gonna just do a little shading with it on the outer sides of the belly and under here. And then I'm gonna come in with my lemon lolly. I don't know if I want light or dark. I'll start with the light. Oh yeah, right, that's light lemon lolly. Yes, and I'm gonna just blend it all together. Give it one last little, and I'm even gonna go over here on the top of the head. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of the face, the background of the face done with the lemon lolly. All right, so now Calypso Coral. I wanna get some of that orangey color, but first I'll bring in the darker Daffodil Delight. I don't wanna go too dark too soon, so I'm just layering. There's some dark Daffodil Delight in there, bring that there, and maybe make sure I've got some there too. All right, now this is where you wanna be careful because you wanna get some orange in there. Whoops, so coral. Okay, so this is good. Have that ever happened to you? Sometimes they have a hard time. So I'm gonna try it one more time and see if I can really pinch here and pull that out there, but no, it's still doing it. Okay, so I keep a pair of needle nose pliers with me, and I'm gonna take this side and pull it out and then slip it back in. I don't know why they don't all do that, but every once in a while that'll happen. And actually I really want to use the feathered side, but no, I guess I don't. I really want to use this side. So I'm going to add a little of the darker, or the light, excuse me. This is the light Calypso Coral. I'm going to kind of bring it in. I don't know. Again, as I said, I'm kind of playing. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole face with the light Calypso Coral. Looks kind of pink when you do it on top of the yellow, but that's okay. All right, now the dark Calypso Coral. I know where I want, right? I want kind of to be dark in here, so I'm gonna just do a little blob there and there. I know I want my feet to be dark, and I know I want the bill. But because all of our other colors are so well blended, I want to go back and blend this with the light Calypso coral. Blend that up a little bit. And I'm trying to get it so it looks like it's kind of transitioning, right? From dark to light. And then I'm going to come in again with my Lemon Lolly. This time I'm going to use the dark Lemon Lolly. And I'm going to go over all of this to just blend it together. I feel like that does a nice job of just making it all kind of go together. So I think that's it. The last thing I'm going to do is I have the black. And this is the light basic black. It doesn't matter, light or dark. I'm going to fill in these lures here on the birds. This with black. I don't want them to be white. And I'm going to take my light lemon lime twist. I'm going to fill in that little area there because to me it's going to kind of look like it's that window behind it. So just do that and maybe put a little bit of light Lemon Lolly there. Actually, now I feel like I need to make it a little bit darker here, the wing a little darker so that it doesn't all blur together. So this is light Granny Apple Green. Let's see what happens if I just do that. Okay. All right. And now we get to fussy cut. So I don't want any of the white to show, but I will show you a trick. I'm not worried about getting super close to the edge because I like the black outline. I don't want to cut too close and lose that black outline, but I can come back with my blend, that black blend, and I can go over the white there so that it disappears. So I like to do the first cut or whatever, kind of keep going, kind of let it flow. And I'll come back and cut that little edge there. This piece is actually really easy to fussy cut because there are not a lot of super intricate movements, pieces, right? It's pretty straight. And Stampin' Up! Snips work really well. However, they are no longer available. Apparently the manufacturer of the snips is no longer making this size. So Stampin' Up! Has to find a new manufacturer. So for right now, we don't have any scissors available for sale. But of course, you can get them from many other places. And I do actually have a couple of snips, brand new ones that are available for sale if you're interested. But they will no longer be available to order directly from Stampin' Up! Speaking of which, if you want to purchase any of the items that you see me use today, you can find them in my online store. So it's Crafty Heron's Designs, craftyherondesigns.com. And it'll take you to my Stampin' Up! Store. And you can purchase any of these items for me. And when you make a purchase over $50, you get, anything over $20, you get rewards from Stampin' Up! So that's a really good deal. So you can use those rewards on a future purchase. You can either save them up to use on something big, or you can just keep using them. They each time you make an order. They're available for a year, so they don't expire. They do expire after a year, but that's a long time. Stampin' Up's coming out with new stuff all the time, so it's not difficult to find something that you love. That's at least for me. Okay, you see how that just kind of sets that off with the black there? Nice and easy. So if you purchase something from my online store, $20 Stampin' Up! Gives you rewards. And then if your order is over $50, you will get a free card class from me. If you can come in person, that's great. Then again, your class is free. If you cannot come in person, I will send you the link to the videos and a card kit for any of the classes. Or if you just want to go to my website and you can find tutorials from previous classes, and you just let me know which one you want, and I will send it to you for free, or as a thank you for purchasing my from me. All right, so here's the original. I'm gonna set that aside. Here, you see, isn't that pretty? Oh, one last thing, right? I stamped these, and they just need to be fussy cut. I didn't want you to have to sit through another whole hot minute while you're watching me fussy cut. So I'm gonna just go ahead and I fussy cut those earlier. So basically what I did was I just did 2 of them because I didn't feel like one of them was long enough. And all I'm gonna do is put a dimensional on my bird. Sorry, I forgot I wasn't in the camera. Let's do it down there. I know I'll need a dimensional down here, but what I'll be doing is I won't put a dimensional here, right? I just want them on this side. So let's do that. There and there. And then this side will be attached to here. So if I take this off, took the dimensional, the backing off, and I will just place that on that backing like that. And then the other one will go this way. And I want to make it look as if the 2 are continuous. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to need to cut that guy off a little bit because I want to make sure it doesn't go off out of the card, right? Like that. So you can see, I could see that, so I'm going to trim that off. Trim that guy a little short. Okay. And then put a little bit of liquid glue right about there. And we are almost done. We're going to add some bling. And then we will be done. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more of my videos, I try to get them a couple times a month. Please follow me. You can just click the little subscribe button. Oops, I forgot to take the backing off the tail. You can click the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Or you can follow me on Facebook, and I will let you know when I have videos. You can also, I'm looking for my bling. Where did it go? You can also subscribe for my newsletter, which is also available on my YouTube channel. The link to subscribe is available on my YouTube channel if you kind of go to the bottom of the page. And then my newsletter will have links to the videos, and then information about special offers from Stampin' Up! And about my classes, and when I've got new created home card classes available. So hope you follow along. Let's see. Okay, last thing. These are the adhesive backed sparkle gems. They are so pretty. The black, the clear, the pecan, the champagne, I guess. They are on clearance. So they are last call, and they will not be available for long. But I thought these were the perfect complement. To me, this looks very much like pecan pie. They call them champagne, but I think they're pecan pie, which is one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Colors. I just feel like it's so natural. Let's see, do I want to do that there? I think I do. There we go, happy anniversary. Love birds. So here's the original. You can see it's a little different. This face is a little darker. I don't know. Like I said, every time you color, it's gonna be a little bit different. This one's a thank you. I made this an anniversary card. It could be a wedding card. That would be really cute. Oh, and I forgot. I need to put this inside. And there's our little bird there, and we'll glue that inside. I'm gonna wait until I decide what kind of sentiment that I wanna add to my happy anniversary. But you can imagine, because you know, if I go to stamp it and I make a mistake and it's not adhered, I can turn it over and start again. So that's why I will wait. And this, so that you can see, is what I did for this thank you card. You are seriously the best. I thought that was a great sentiment. So again, thanks for joining me today. My name is Linda Edwards. I'm with Crafty Heron Designs, and I hope to see you again soon. And I hope that you spend a little time every week doing something creative. Bye for now.